Radio app.
Exponential risk. I'm Amy King, live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. President Biden says now that Pfizer has full FDA approval for the COVID-19 vaccine, now is the time to get it. The president says there are no more excuses to not get vaccinated. The LA County Health Department says unvaccinated people 18 to 49 years old have a death rate of 0.9 per 100,000 people, and there were virtually no deaths among vaccinated people in the same age group. Officials also say unvaccinated adults 18 to 49 are 25 times more likely than vaccinated adults to be admitted to a hospital with COVID-19. The LA County Sheriff's Department is looking for a hit-and-run driver who may have hit a vaccine clinic worker on purpose in Santa Clarita. Deputies say witnesses told them the driver ran into a few signs at the clinic Saturday afternoon and then turned around and clipped the clinic worker. The person was not badly hurt, but the driver took off. A new poll shows most parents of school-aged kids are worried about being back on the road. The Harris poll shows 68% of parents surveyed say they've driven less during the pandemic. Safety engineer with Chevrolet, Tricia Morrow, says they're also worried about the kids hitting the road again.
Parents are now concerned about how less experienced drivers, maybe their teens, may be facing more aggressive road environments, especially since during the pandemic they might not have been able to practice as much.
Morrow says over time, basic driving skills can be forgotten, which may lead to careless driving. The White House says more than 37,000 people have now been flown out of Afghanistan.
This operation is complex. It is dangerous.
National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan says the U.S. has been trying to find Americans still in the country.
The reason why we can't give you a precise number is because not every American who comes into Afghanistan goes and puts themselves in a database at the U.S. Embassy. They don't have to. Many of them choose not to.
He says the U.S. is in talks with the Taliban every day as the evacuation process continues. KFI's military analyst says the U.S. had no business staying in Afghanistan for the last 20 years.
Former Marine Captain Dale Dye says the U.S. had one mission after 9/11, get those responsible for attacking the U.S. But instead, Dye says, the U.S. decided to stay in the Middle East and throw money, contractors, and advisors at the people of Afghanistan.
And lo and behold, we will be able to defeat centuries of tribalism and corruption. Some of their traditional things about females and children and the social order. We'll be able to correct those. That was absolute American hubris, and we never should have done that. We never should have attempted to do that.
Dye says politicians will spend the next decade blaming each other for the war. Steve Gregory, KFI News.
At least 22 people have died and dozens are missing after flash flooding in Tennessee over the weekend. Tennessee Governor Bill Lee says some people had no chance to survive the flood.
Within about a 5 or 10 minute period of time, they went from seeing floodwaters rise to not being able to escape their homes.
Officials say the dead ranged in age from young children to elderly people. They say up to 17 inches of rain fell in less than 24 hours. Thousands of grasshoppers have taken over a town in Quebec, Canada. The swarms are making homes out of outdoor furniture and ravaging gardens. One scientist says it's the biggest invasion he's seen in 15 years. He says a mild winter and a hot spring have created perfect conditions for the insects to thrive. One local journalist says when you walk on the ground, it just sounds like you're popping popcorn. Yeah. Slow in Hollywood on the 101.
Southbound side, seeing delays from Melrose over to the 110 freeway. It's also going to be a slow ride to Mid-City on the eastbound side of the 10 freeway from La Cienega over to about Western. Also delays continue if you're heading out of the Santa Fe Springs area, southbound 605 from Washington over to the 5. Also a few delays if you're heading east on the 105 freeway coming out of Glenwood from the 710 over to Lakewood Boulevard. 57 south, got some slowing coming out of the Fullerton area from Loma Linda Boulevard over to Orange Store. And things are slowing down if you're heading out of the Fontana area, westbound side of the 10, seeing some slowing here from Cherry over to Bat Etowanda. KFI and the Sky helps get you there faster. I'm Jay Owen.
This hour of the Gary and Shannon Show is brought to you by SolarMax Technology.
Get a package that includes the new Tesla 420 panels and power walls for $79.96 per month and zero down.
Go to SolarMaxTech.com. You'll probably be cranking up the air conditioner again soon. We'll tell you about that next.
So if you've been skipping out on your dental appointments for a few years because you are anxious about sitting in that dentist chair, maybe you're afraid of getting bad news about your dental health, here's a solution. Cunning Dental. They specialize in people who might be fearful of the dentist, people who need major work from years of neglect, and they can do all of your dental work while you sleep. A gentle twilight sleep, even full anesthesia if you need that. They can repair years of neglect in just 1 or 2 appointments. You just wake up with a brand new smile. It's dental treatment without the anxiety. Dental implants, crowns, root canals, smile makeovers, new permanent teeth in just one day. And there's no other dental office like it. Cunning Dental has been rebuilding smiles for over 52 years, 4 generations of dentistry. And you can get $500 off any sleep treatment. You can now sleep through any procedure. This offer does expire August 31st, and some restrictions apply. So call 888-640-SMILE, 888-640-SMILE, 888-640-SMILE. Cunning Dental, making smiles great since 1968.
Hey, it's Dean Sharp. What does solar mean for your future? Well, that depends on whether your solar is Sunlux Solar. Sunlux Solar means you've unshackled your home from the rising cost of electricity. Sunlux Solar means uninterrupted power during blackouts or natural disasters. It means no more dependence on gasoline because your home fuels your car. Sunlux Solar means saving tens of thousands of dollars over the life of the system. I design homes. I know just how much is riding on your solar. That's why I partner with Sunlux, because Sunlux is solar done right. The most comprehensive warranty of the industry, 5-star customer service, critical partnerships with industry leaders like Tesla and LG. With Sunlux, it's a partnership for your home's future, and that future is just a click away at sunlux.com. That's sunlux.com. CSLB 1008374.
KFI Market Report brought to you by Bay Alarm. The Dow trading up 268 points. The NASDAQ up 245. S&P 500 is up 46. The price of gas in California averaging $4.39 a gallon.
The KFI Money Report is brought to you by Bay Alarm. Protect your business with a customized access control system. Visit bayalarm.com to get protected today.
Southland weather from KFI. Mostly sunny this afternoon. Highs in the upper 60s to mid-70s at the beaches. 80 for Metro LA and Inland Orange County. Upper 70s and 80s in the valleys. Low 90s for the IE. Becoming cloudy overnight with lows in the 50s and 60s. Sunny tomorrow after morning clouds clear out. A few degrees warmer than today. Even warmer for Wednesday and Thursday with highs in the low 100s for inland areas. Then we'll start cooling down just a bit as we head toward the weekend. It's 76 in Diamond Bar, 70 Laguna Beach, 83 in Palmdale, 75 in Hollywood. We lead local, live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. I'm Amy King.
Gary and Shannon, KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeart Radio app.
Coming up in the 1 o'clock hour, we've got advice from the CDC about who should cruise and who should not. And I'll just say this. Everyone who the CDC says should not cruise is the target demo of cruise ships.
I know. It's going to be bad.
Because you know who goes on cruises? People who love to eat and people who love to be retired.
And yes, they love being old. I'm going to be old in international waters.
I'm going to own my oldness.
What else is going on?
Time for What's Happening.
I worked 45 years and I earned this cruise.
I just realized what I'm going to write for your cake next summer. I own my oldness.
I don't, though. I ignore it.
I know.
Ignore it. At least 21 people, this is not funny, 21 people have been killed in that crazy flooding in Tennessee. They say 40 others remain missing. Catastrophic flash flood that swept through this rural area. It's about 90 minutes west of Nashville.
2 of the dead, they said, appear to be twin toddlers swept away from their father. Another victim happened to be the best friend of the sheriff. Among those still missing, a 7-year-old lives with her family behind a dollar store in Waverly, Tennessee. The images that came out of there were just stunning. I mean, and then you had that the tropical storm, the hurricane that became a tropical storm that went up through the East Coast and canceled that concert that was supposed to take place in Central Park on Saturday and everything.
Well, we've been talking about it all day. United States giving full approval to Pfizer's vaccine today. They believe it will help in public confidence when it comes to people getting the shots. We talked to people earlier. A couple people had said that, yeah, the FDA approval meant something to them, and they got the shots. Heard from one of my friends. She got the shots yesterday.
We put a poll up on our Twitter account, at Gary and Shannon. You can go check it out on our profile page, about whether or not you would do this. And as of right now, it's about 2/3 to 1/3, about 66%, 34%. 66% said no, this is not going to change their mind about getting the vaccine. We also saw the continued breakthrough infection number continue to go up, and that young adults are the most infected. That should not be a surprise to anyone. It does not mean that COVID is changing and infecting younger people more so than it was before. It means that most of the old people are vaccinated. We've seen in the state of California, I mean, the number of people over the age of, say, 60 who have been vaccinated, it's in the, like, 85% range. That's a huge, huge number. It's those younger people who are the least vaccinated that are getting this, that are getting these coronavirus cases that are coming up. But you also have to remember, I looked this up earlier today. In the state, check out this chart right here. In the state, we peaked about a week ago in terms of the number of confirmed cases throughout the state of California. The number of deaths, we also peaked about a week ago. And everything is continuing to come down, from positivity rate to the total number of tests. Those are coming down. The hospitalizations are still, I mean, there's still people, they're busy. But in California, we've been lucky. We have not seen the strain on our system like they have in other places.
This is pretty cool. It looks like some possessions of Al Capone are being sold at auction later this year in Sacramento. Apparently, Sonny Capone, the only child of Al Capone, had been living in the Auburn area in relative obscurity. His daughters are now selling his estate, including Al Capone's Colt pistol that he called Sweetheart, his diamond monogrammed watch, diamond-studded jewelry, bedroom furniture from his home in Palm Island, family photos, a home movie of Capone, a prison letter to Sonny. That's pretty cool.
That gun alone is going to go for tens of thousands of dollars.
It says something like 30 to 60,000. I think it's going to get more than that.
Well, if you're upset that they are going to start selling pumpkin spice lattes this week, this will make you upset also. You need to do your Christmas shopping now. Like, now.
Really?
Because if you don't, things are going to be out of stock.
It's way too early for that.
Supply chain analytics professor at University of Missouri St. Louis Business School said about a year and a half into the pandemic, companies and consumers are still navigating changing landscape. I told you the outdoor patio thing. My wife bought a little couch for the backyard. It took months to get there. We also had a couch on order for the front room, and that thing is not coming in anytime soon. Like 6 or 8 months since we ordered it, and we still have not yet seen when they're going to deliver that thing.
Well, it looks like 20 tons of sand are going to be poured into an LA museum for what they say is fall's biggest spectacle. The Museum of Contemporary Art's Geffen Contemporary downtown. It's Sun and Sea that will be making its premiere October 14th. I don't understand art.
A climate crisis opera will make its West Coast premiere. That's what this is for.
And they're going to dump sand on the stage and put beachgoers on it. Again, I'm not a very good art connoisseur. Or consumer.
We mentioned the cruise. The first cruise to depart from Long Beach since this whole thing started took off on Saturday. The Carnival Panorama, cleaned and prepped and ready to go. There has not been a cruise that left California since March of 2020, sorry. Again, like that guy on the phone earlier, I don't know what year it is anymore. I don't know how long this has been going on, and we have no idea how long it's going to last.
All right, coming up next, Sports Roundup. It was insane for the second week in a row at SoFi. I mean, if you thought it was the fact that it was the Rams and Chargers, two LA teams that were able to draw 68,000 last week, The Niners and the Chargers drew 68,000 last night. It was insanity. It was wonderful. I really underestimate the joy that I get from a packed house like that watching football, even if it is preseason.
Yeah, and even if people are fighting in the stands, because they haven't been outside in a year and a half.
Yeah, what
do I do with my fists now?
I saw grown-ass men in those stands, just like they had just gotten there, presumably their first time at SoFi. They're looking around, and there were so many close to tears. There were so many, and I totally got it, because that's how I felt my first time as well.
Gary and Shannon will continue. Amy King has an update on the news.
The state of Mississippi has threatened $5,000 fines and 5 years in jail for people who don't follow at-home isolation orders after testing positive for COVID-19. The order requires anyone with a positive test to remain in isolation until they show no symptoms or signs of fever. A 4-hour-long full freeway closure that has made a mess of the morning commute was caused by a pedestrian being hit and killed by at least one vehicle in Fullerton. CHP says a person in southbound lanes at the 57 was hit just after 5 a.m. at the Imperial Highway on-ramp. A 4.0 earthquake has shaken a rural area of southeastern California. The U.S. Geological Survey says the quake hit at 7:57 this morning south of the Salton Sea, about 7 miles north of Westmoreland. It's a slow go on the 210. We'll tell you about that next.
Guys, if you've been thinking about selling your car, truck, or exotic, now is the time. Give Me the VIN is where you go. They are buying. The car market is nuts. So if you're thinking of selling your vehicle, do it before the end of August. Prices may never be like this. At GiveMeTheVIN.com, selling your vehicle is simple, fast, and easy. GiveMeTheVIN.com has thousands of top-rated Google and Facebook reviews. Here's what you do. Just log on to GiveMeTheVIN.com, put in your VIN number, a couple of pics, and get ready to be rocked. GiveMeTheVIN.com is America's best car buyer. If you go to GiveMeTheVIN.com and they can't beat your CarMax offer, they'll pay you $100. Selling your car, truck, or exotic has never been easier at GiveMeTheVIN.com.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVIN.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
Sunny with highs in the 60s and 70s with the coast, 80s to low 90s inland, a couple degrees warmer for tomorrow. From the Southern California Toyota Dealers Traffic Center, we make it easy. It's slow and Doherty on the 210.
Eastbound side of the 210, seeing head of the ways as you're approaching the 605, looks like there was a chair that was dropped in the far left lane. Getting into Mid-City, eastbound side of the 10, that's going to slow down coming away from La Cienega over to just beyond Western. Southbound 101, that slows down as you're coming out of Hollywood from Melrose over to the 110 freeway. Also heavy ride if you're heading along the 5, southbound side through Santa Ana from 17th over to the 55, but so far no reports of any crashes. And if you're heading into Devore, northbound 15 freeway is going to be heavy from Duncan Canyon to Glen Helen. Kfi Am is going to get even faster. I'm Jerry.
This report is sponsored by Molina Healthcare. For the health cover you need close to home, lean on Molina Healthcare. Molina has 40 years of experience and covers preventive services, prescription drugs, maternity and newborn care, and more. For details, go to leanonmolina.com. Get the care you need. Lean on Molina.
Attention savvy investors. Are you looking to hedge against inflation and receive steady monthly cash flow? How about the safety and security of a real estate investment without the hassles of being a landlord? Maybe you should cash out of some stock market risk and volatility and take some money off the table. Instead, receive 10% annualized monthly payouts with bonuses targeted to 21%. NRIA is an industry-leading real estate development firm in its 15th year constructing strategically located, lower-risk, high-demand properties in unique neighborhoods based on supply-demand imbalance. Call 800-800-1414 to start your due diligence. A great fit for safety-oriented investors desiring monthly cash flow and diversification into carefully curated real estate. Learn more about the NRIA Real Estate Development Fund at nria.net or call 800-800-1414. That's 800-800-1414.
An offer of securities is only made by the NRIA Private Placement Memorandum. Read it first. Past performance does not guarantee future results. NRIA is a real estate development firm. Learn more at nria.net.
How much can you safely spend each month in retirement? Will the income from your 401k, Social Security, and pensions last the rest of your life? What about your spouse and family? Will they be okay when you're gone? For objective answers to retirement's difficult questions, call 833-PLANT-EFE right now for your free retirement review from Edelman Financial Engines. A fiduciary financial planner will review your investments to help make sure they're right for you. But this is much more than just a portfolio discussion. You'll also get a comprehensive plan that covers all aspects of your financial life, wealth management, retirement planning, and more. The plan is worth $800, and it's free. You deserve honest answers to your questions, even the ones you don't know to ask. So call 833-PLAN-EFE by Tuesday, 10 p.m. That's 833-PLAN-EFE. Or visit EdelmanFinancialEngines.com. The retirement answers you need are a call away.
Advanced Hair Restoration is now offering $250 off and $250 free hair grafts for the same simple one-day treatment I received. Their standard of care always exceeds CDC guidelines, and they guarantee your new hair will grow. Call 844-333-HAIR or go to advancedhair.com.
Nielsen says more than 30 million Americans are now tuning into Newsmax TV. Hey, it's one of the biggest media stories. Newsmax is available on all major cable systems. And if you cut the cord and don't get cable, you can still get Newsmax. Find it on your smart TVs like Samsung, LG, and more. Just go to your smart TV tuning guide or download the free Newsmax app. Newsmax also streams free on Roku, Zumo, Pluto, Amazon Fire, TiVo, and 7 million people now have the Newsmax app on their smartphone. You know, it just takes seconds to download it on your phone, and there's no paywall or subscription. So watch Newsmax for breaking news anytime, anywhere. President Trump watches Newsmax. Forbes calls Newsmax a news powerhouse. Find out why tens of millions of Americans are watching Newsmax TV and going to Newsmax.com for breaking news. It's a source you can trust. Watch Newsmax TV today.
I'm injury attorney Miriam Parn. It's never too late for a second opinion. When it comes to your injury, don't settle without talking to me. 800-800-6969. Superwoman, Superlawyer, Superwoman, Superlawyer.com.
Look at the last 20 years out here. Most of this nonsense is self-inflicted. It's either ballot measures that people voted for or moron candidates that they voted for repeatedly. Not that they made a mistake once in a while. The same people keep coming up and they keep getting promoted to the top of the system like Newsom.
John and Ken, weekdays at 2 on KFI.
Gary and Shannon, KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Firefight outside Kabul's airport has killed an Afghan soldier, highlighting the perils of the evacuation effort. Taliban warned any attempt by U.S. troops to delay their withdrawal of August 31st to give people more time to get out would provoke a reaction, were their words.
When we get into Swamp Watch at 12:30, we're going to talk more about the FDA granting a full approval for the Pfizer vaccine, what that's going to mean going forward, including this new mandate that will be coming from the Pentagon to get members of the military vaccinated. Well, we've seen a bunch of sports stuff. Why not get into that world here in a second?
Hot sports pick.
Three-point shot. Home run. Hat trick. Something from golf. Uppercut. All gas, no brakes. It's time for Gary and Shannon's Hot Sports Picks.
I love how we task the one guy in the building that doesn't watch sports. He's no longer in the building. John Constantine. Excellent guy.
Yes.
But hey, can you build us some sort of sports opener?
And he nailed it.
Okay.
Grant Hayes hit 2 home runs, drove in 5 runs, 3 pitchers combined on a 1-hitter. The All-Star team from Torrance Little League defeated its counterpart from Westside Little League in Hamilton, Ohio, 9-0 yesterday in the Little League World Series. Got that game in before any of the rain spell. The Torrance is trying to become the first team from LA County to win the Little League World Series since Long Beach did it in 92 and 93. In Huntington Beach, they won it in 2011. There was a team from Granada Hills way back in 63. But right now, the Torrance Little League team will play on Wednesday, scheduled to play Wednesday. The winner of today's Oregon-South Dakota game, I think it is. So
I am rooting for these kids. We should get somebody on to talk about this, like one of the parents or something. How exciting must that be?
I can't imagine.
You can't imagine.
I cannot imagine. It'd be so
cool,
nerve-wracking,
and cool.
No.
Now you're just mad that your son didn't take the baseball.
It's so crazy. Right now they are in a weather delay. The Texas and Michigan teams are playing there, and it's, as we've seen and probably will see for the next couple of days, they're going to have a hard time squeezing in some of these games because of the weather.
So I know I have a bias, Chargers, that favors the Chargers. But going to SoFi last week for a Rams game, and then going to SoFi last night for a Chargers game, the experiences were night and day, and it wasn't just me. Everybody who went said the same thing in terms of the way they were able to move cars in and out of the parking lot. It was the same attendance. It was both about 68,000 fans, which is insane for a preseason game. But, you know, people want to get back out there. They want to see the beautiful stadium. Yeah. There's nothing like it in the NFL. It is insanity how massive that place is. But it took me, you know, like an hour and a half just to get out of the parking lot with the Rams game, the way they had their parking set up. Last night, it took me an hour and 15 minutes to get home from the stadium. Like,
that's amazing that they are in the same footprint. I mean, they're in the same building, the same parking lots, and they can't share information.
And pro tip, it's cheaper to go to the Chargers games than it is the Rams. If you want to get it in there and see SoFi, the ticket will cost you much less if you go when the Chargers are playing.
Well, both Rams and the Chargers lost their preseason games this weekend, which is not a, you know...
No, it's not
a huge...
It's not an indicator of anything. There's a lot of guys that are 2s and 3s on the team that are getting substantial playing time. The only person it matters to win preseason games is John Harbaugh, who has won 19 preseason games in a row, tying Vince Lombardi in the late 50s, early 60s.
That's the most bizarre statistic I think I've heard. What does that matter? Just that it's a neat thing for him? That's a strange statistic. Baseball over the weekend yesterday, Miguel Cabrera became the latest player to reach the 500 home run club. He is one of those guys who absolutely loves what he's doing. And he has fun while he's doing it, and good for him. There's a few others who could potentially get there, but... you know, in terms of anytime soon, we don't know. Nelson Cruz is a guy who's got, you know, he's 57 home runs away, but he's already 41 years old. And that might be just a bit too old to get to 57 more home runs.
Just one last thing I wanted to tell you about the Chargers related to the Chargers was, you know how I told you I watched that Football Life of Vince Lombardi? I just mentioned him. And I meant to tell you this, and I was, like, crying my eyes out. Like, it was really good. Really enjoyed it. I have been able to not share that information with the Chargers' new offensive coordinator, who happens to be his grandson, Joe Lombardi. I have held back from talking to him on the sideline and saying, hey, I watched your grandfather's Football Life, and it made me cry. Because who cares?
Right.
Not one person cares. But the fact that I was able to hold myself back makes me believe that I learned from accosting Greg Williams in the tunnel in Cleveland when he looked at me like I was a crazy person when I was telling him how much I loved his lines on Hard Knocks. And he looked at me like I'd lost my mind. Like, who cares? I don't care what you think. You're a strange woman. I have no idea who you are.
You're just a weird, strange woman in a tunnel somewhere.
Right?
I don't know who you are. All right, big news out of D.C. today. We'll kick off Swamp Watch talking about the FDA granting Pfizer vaccines full approval. That's coming up next on Gary and Shane.
Amy King has the news. Yep, and we're going to be talking about that right now.
The moment you've been waiting for is here.
President Biden has urged people to get vaccinated now that the Pfizer vaccine has full FDA approval.
The Delta variant is dangerous and spreading, causing a pandemic of the unvaccinated.
He says nationwide cases of COVID-19 are still on the rise and people are still at risk. Biden says state, local, and federal governments have imposed vaccine requirements along with some companies, and he says more companies should do the same. News brought to you by Mike Diamond, the Smell Good Plumber. A group of Orange County theaters have announced that people will have to be fully vaccinated to attend performances, and mask wearing will also be mandatory. Among those imposing the mandates are Segers from Center for the Arts, Soka Performing Arts Center, Pacific Symphony, South Coast Repertory, and the Irvine Barclay Theater. The arraignment of Harvey Weinstein on sex-related charges in L.A. has been postponed until next month. Weinstein appeared in court this morning to answer a new grand jury indictment that charges him with sexual battery by restraint against a woman in L.A. in 2010. His arraignment is now scheduled for September 20th. Mayor Garcetti and fire officials have urged Angelenos to do their part to prevent major fires, even as peak fire season in SoCal remains months away. They've asked residents to be sure brush is cleared from around homes and are recommending families prepare evacuation plans just in case. Tropical storm Henri has become a slow-moving storm as it dumps rain across a stretch from Pennsylvania to New England on its way back out to the Atlantic. More than 40 million people on the East Coast are under flash flood watches, and ABC's Rena Roy says the storm has knocked out power to more than 100,000 customers in New England.
National Grid has dispatched nearly 4,000 field personnel to hard-hit areas of Massachusetts and Rhode Island.
She says the power is expected to be out until at least midweek. Pumpkin spice latte time at Starbucks starts tomorrow. It's the earliest return date ever, beating last year's PSL arrival date by 1 day. Too soon. Slow in Mid-City on the 10th.
Eastbound 10, seeing delays coming away from La Brea over to the 110 freeway. Southbound 101 is going to slow down leaving Studio City from Coldwater to the 134, and then heavy again from Melrose to the 110. Also a few delays on the northbound side of the 101 coming away from Lancaster over to the 170. Southbound side of the 5, that bunkers up coming away from Glendale Boulevard over to the 110 freeway as you're heading into Elysian Park. Eastbound 91, right around Lemon in Anaheim, it looks like CHP had to stop traffic to South San Francisco and Pothole, so you're going to see a backup there coming away from just about Brookhurst. And also a slow ride into DeVore, northbound side of the 15th freeway in between Duncan Canyon and Glen Helen. Kfi Am Sky helps get you there faster. I'm Jay Owen.
Rates subject to change without notice. Minimum loan amount and certain restrictions apply. 50% loan to value and 745 credit score. First lien only. This is a dramatization. Cash out will vary. Subject to credit approval. NMLS 3290. Loans made or arranged pursuant to a California financing law license number 6036970. Equal housing lender. Can you believe how much the Garcias house sold for? I know. Home values are so high right now. I wish I could pull about $50,000 from my home's equity without selling. You can. We just pulled cash from our home's equity to redo our backyard this summer. We used IntelliLoan. And get this, our monthly payments actually went down. IntelliLoan offered us a 1.875% rate and APR with no points or lender fees. Wow, 1.875% with no points and no lender fees. Hello, new pool. Take the number. It's 800-918-6200. 800-918-6200. Or just go to IntelliLoan.com. IntelliLoan. Borrow smart.
Southland weather from KFI. Sunshine this afternoon. Highs in the upper 60s to mid-70s at the beaches. Upper 70s to low 90s inland. Sunny after morning clouds tomorrow. Highs will be in mid to upper 70s at the beaches. 80s for Metro LA and Inland OC. 80s and 90s for the valleys and Inland Empire. We'll warm up as we head through the week with highs back in the 90s to low 100s for inland areas by midweek. We lead local. Live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom, I'm Amy King.
Hey, it's Conway here. Are you thinking about refinancing? Or if you've already refined your mortgage in 2020, it's more than worthwhile to contact HMS Capital. HMS Capital's Mark Tice has one recommendation. You apply with HMS Capital, right? And then you apply with another lender. HMS Capital is the only lender that I know of that encourages homeowners to apply with multiple lenders. So I've known Mark for a long time through Bill Handel, and it's totally true. There are no appraisals and no application fees of any kind. So go ahead and take the HMS Capital Challenge. Apply with HMS Capital and then apply with some other lender. Rates are the lowest they've ever been at HMS Capital. 833-255-5698. 833-255-5698 or hmscapital.com.
HMS Capital funding is a DBA funding and finance criminal and Canadian HMS Capital is licensed by the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation under the California Residential Mortgage Lending Act. License number 4130360. Equal housing lender.
And a fly ball to left field. Mookie Betts has hit another one out. Calling all Dodger fans. Add to your bobblehead collection on Monday, August 30th, when the Atlanta Braves come to town to take on the Dodgers. Be one of the first 40,000 fans in attendance and receive a Mookie Betts bobblehead presented by San Manuel Casino. Oh, catch by Mookie Betts.
He gets a Mookie moment early in the game.
To purchase, visit Dodgers.com/promotion.
Hey, this is Mo Kelly from KFI AM 640. If you're wondering whether the COVID-19 vaccines protect against the Delta variant, the answer is yes. The vaccines save lives and help keep us healthy by teaching our immune systems to make antibodies that can fight off the COVID-19 virus, including current variants like Delta. So let's get you vaccinated. Let's get to immunity. Visit myturn.ca.gov to find walk-in sites near you or call 833-422-4255. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
Call Service Champions for their $88 professional AC tune-up at 833-777-7777.
KFI AM 640.
An iHeart radio station.
24-hour news. More stimulating talk.
Listen, I'm no prude. I'm no straight edge person. But I feel like that's too far.
Yeah, it seems like it would have been, seems like it would be just a bit too far. Harry and Shannon, KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. In a few minutes, we'll talk more about what's going on in Afghanistan in terms of the evacuation of people from Afghanistan, Americans and Afghan refugees. The U.S. says that we evacuated 10,400 people from Afghanistan yesterday. That would be the highest single-day total, but there are still tens of thousands of people who are trying to get out of there.
Well, the big news of the day is that the FDA has granted the Pfizer vaccine full approval. Will people be more apt to get inoculated? Mark Remillard joins us now with all of the details. This has been in the works for months, right?
Yeah, it's likely a goal since they started developing the vaccine. So a long time that this has been in the pipeline here, and a goal for Pfizer to get this fully approved. And this has now come a week or so early. It was expected that perhaps early in September